Would I be the jerk for getting a lock on my bedroom? I, 20 and female, am roommates with my brother Cole, 26, and his girlfriend Grace, also 26. Cole and I split rent, and Grace lives here rent-free and job-free, if that's relevant. Due to past trauma, I am very uncomfortable with people being in my room, especially without my permission. Over the last few years, I've been trying to work on this, and I have gotten to the point where I'm more comfortable with people being in my room. All I ask is that they have my permission. Both Cole and Grace know this about me. Cole has no problem with knocking and has tried to convince Grace to do so as well, but Grace is always trying to push this boundary. Grace constantly just walks in or goes into my room to borrow my hair supplies or nail polish while I'm not there. If she really needed something from my room while I'm out, she could just text or call or ask me if she can go in there. Whenever I have a friend over in my room or Cole is hanging out, she deems that since someone else is in there with me, she's allowed in too and just opens the door to come in. Whenever she does do this, she doesn't even hang out with us or my friends, she just sits near and browses her phone. I've asked her several times to please just ask or knock before she goes into my room and reminded her of my reasons, but she constantly ignores me. Yesterday I went shopping with Cole, and when we came back, Grace was smiling and giggling a lot. Cole asked her what she's been up to, and she said that she's been just chilling around before giggling some more. When I went to my room, I saw that some of my figurines had been moved around the room. One was even on top of a painting above my desk that she definitely would have had to climb onto to put up there. I know, because I had to climb on top of my desk to reach it. I went back into my living room and Grace asked if I liked her prank. I told her that I did not, and I really didn't appreciate that she keeps going into my room without my permission and that I'm going to be getting a lock for my door. She told me that I was overreacting to having a few figurines moved around and that it was harmless. I told her it wasn't about the figurines. It was about going into my room without my permission, and I'm not comfortable with her being in my room anymore. She just rolled her eyes and said, whatever. Currently, Grace won't talk to me, and Cole said that he thinks it's reasonable for me to get a lock on my door, but he might be biased. I told my friends about it, and some agree with me, but a few think that I should let it go and not unnecessarily escalate everything by buying a lock. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for kicking my sister out of my house after she defended her stepson? I saw a similar post a few hours ago, and I just wanted to ask. My 22 and female sister, 28 and female, married a man twice her age, 50 and male. She was the other woman, quote-unquote, for 2 years and got pregnant with my nephew, who's a 1-year-old male. His husband's ex-wife obviously kicked him out, and his oldest, 20 and male, followed. I took them in 10 months ago after his wife won the house in the divorce, and they asked to stay for 1 to 2 years until they're able to buy their own house. I said yes, because I honestly don't mind. I love my nephew with all my heart, and my home, the family home, my dad left it to me, is quite big. Things were okay. My sister's husband always paid rent on time, his son was actually helpful around the house, and as I said, I love my nephew, so I was happy to have him and my sister around. For some context, I'm a sex worker, OnlyFans and in real life. My sister knows about it, has never commented on it, but until recently, I didn't think her family did until this happened. My sister's stepson, whom I'll call Aaron, always had a mess in his room, and it was okay. It's his space, but I didn't like it when I noticed that he started to leave food and drinks around. I don't want rats or cockroaches in my house. So I asked him a bunch of times, gently, to please clean his room, because it was unsanitary, and we live with a baby. He was always like, yeah. His dad and my sister asked him until he and I fought about it. And I said that if his room wasn't clean before Sunday, I was going to do it myself and throw everything away I find on the floor. He didn't believe me, and neither did he clean. So I did it. I hired someone and asked him to throw everything away, but to separate the clothes in a bag and food in the other. When he came back and saw his room, he got very angry. He said I had no right, and they were his things, that I throw away like 60% of his clothes and blah, blah, blah. Then he threatened to tell everyone that I was a witch. I was taken aback and asked what he meant by that, and he said that he found out what I did for a living and that he was going to get a video, I don't know how, and send it to my family because I was a witch and that's how you teach a witch how to behave. He said that his room was cleaner than mine and it was all screwed up and dirty. Needless to say, I kicked him out, and when my sister defended him and implied that I brought this on myself, I kicked all of them out too. They had to crash a few couches until her husband got an apartment, and she's claiming and telling everyone that I was the jerk. ETA, I'm not asking for legal advice, or if I was legally wrong. Am I the jerk for not wanting to live with my sister and taking advantage of her quote-unquote generosity. My 16 male stepmother, 47 female, and father, 47 male, ran a small shop in our neighborhood that has recently been doing very badly, for a number of reasons that I'm not going to get into. Because of this, they no longer have the money for me to stay with them and support me. I'm supposed to live with my sister, 26 and female, who is married, 29 and male, and has 2 kids, 7 female and 4 male. I've never liked my sister, and she never liked me. So I'm pretty sure my parents made a deal with her or something to take me in. She's extremely egotistic and constantly insults me and makes snide comments about my height, appearance, social skills, etc., etc. Usually I just pretend that she doesn't exist every time we have a family reunion, and it's never really a problem. It's just a mutual thing that we hate each other and don't want anything to do with each other. My half-brother, 22 and male, my biological mother and her husband, and I have a good relationship. He was far more of an older sibling than my sister was. I visit him often, and we're generally quite close. Once he heard about everything, he offered to have me stay with him. So for background information, I have a scholarship exam coming up, and I'd really like to get it. So I've been studying nonstop each day. If I were to stay with my sister, it would definitely affect my studying plan. 2 kids, her husband, and her are somehow always rearranging the house, and their really big dogs bark a lot. So I was relieved to hear that my half-brother would be willing to let me stay at his place. I thought my parents would be really happy too, but they seem really against it because they think that he's a bad influence. He's an artist and also very flamboyant, and I'm being ungrateful by playing favorites. They're Asian too, so they're very big on the whole blood runs thicker than water thing, so they firmly want me to go with my sister. My sister's also pissed because she says that she's already being generous by letting me stay at her place, and not wanting to stay with her shows that I'm taking advantage of her kindness. I can see how it might seem ungrateful that I chose someone else over my sister, but I don't see what all the fuss is about. Everyone says that I'm in the wrong for being selfish, but honestly, I don't see how that's the case. Am I the jerk? As an edit. Sorry for not clarifying my family tree more clearly. My half-brother and I share the same biological mom, and my sister and I share the same biological mom and dad. As for how I'm younger than my half-brother, there was a period in time which my biological mom and dad got back together, but then split up again. Currently, my biological mom has another husband who's my half-brother's biological dad that she dated plus married after my mom and dad divorced. Then they divorced, and my mom got back together with my biological dad. Then another divorce, and my half-brother's dad and biological mom got back together. Sorry, everything's kind of confusing. It's failed marriage paradise over here. Am I the jerk? I ordered food from outside against my pregnant wife's wishes. My wife is 24 weeks pregnant. A few weeks ago, my boss said that we would be having a meeting with a foreign client yesterday to sign a deal. He said that this meeting would be a deciding factor whether the client would sign a contract with us or not. He said that it would be nice if I could host the client at my home. I tried explaining to him that my wife is pregnant and it would be very inconvenient for us to host. He then went on to say that I'd get a promotion if we managed to get this client. I obviously didn't want to let go of this opportunity because it would be a significant raise in pay, which would help me and my wife become better financially, so I said yes. I came home and told my wife about it. She took it surprisingly well and said that she doesn't have a problem with them coming home. She then said that she wants to cook for them all. Now, about 10 people would be coming, and I felt like it would be too much work for her. I'm the usual cook at home because my wife doesn't cook that well. I obviously don't mind cooking all the time since I like to cook, plus she does other chores to make up for it. So, because of those 2 reasons, I told her that it would be easier to just order food from outside. She outright refused and said it is highly impolite to serve restaurant food to guests when we're hosting. I then offered to help her cook to minimize the kitchen blunders, but she refused to let me help either. So I went ahead and ordered the food from a nice restaurant 2 days before the meeting without telling her. The day of the meeting when I came home, my wife was sitting in the living room and was crying her eyes out. When I asked her what happened, she said that the food got burned and that there was nothing to serve the guests. I consoled her and told her that I have ordered food from outside and it will be arriving soon. She got suspicious and asked me how I managed to make a bulk order so fast. I had no choice but to tell her the truth. She was royally pissed and has been ignoring me since. My boss and the client liked the food a lot, and we snagged the deal. My boss was super excited and told me that I'd be getting a 25% pay raise and that he'd talked to the higher-ups about giving me a promotion. I don't know how to convince my wife since she's still angry and refusing to talk to me. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for taking a car that was promised to my stepdaughter and giving it to my biological son? I have 2 kids, Aaron, 16 and female, and Luca, 15 and male. Aaron is technically my stepdaughter, and I met her mother, Luz, when Aaron was 3 and my biological son Luca was almost 2. We married when Aaron was 7, and I view her as my own child. I thought that we'd raised her to be an honest and do right. Last week, a girl about Aaron's age and her parents were at my door. The father shoves his phone in my face, which has a Find My Mac, and shows that Gia's MacBook Pro is located at our house. He demanded the MacBook back, said Aaron stole it, and that it's a 14-inch MacBook Pro with a koi fish case. I turned to my daughter, who was in the living room, and asked what this was about. Aaron said she didn't know what they were talking about. I had no reason to distrust Aaron, so I told the man that there must be a glitch. The cops eventually show up. They talk to Aaron, who continues denying it, but after they mention possible juvie time, she reluctantly walks up the stairs to her room and comes back with the MacBook. Luz and I are in shock that Aaron stole. The cops asked if the man wanted to press charges, and he declined, and told me that he just wanted Aaron and her friends to leave Gia alone. Everyone left, and we immediately interrogated Aaron about what happened. Apparently, a friend of Aaron had some kind of boyfriend drama with this girl, so they had stolen Gia's MacBook at school earlier that day as some sort of revenge. Luz and I flipped at Aaron. She committed a crime. And what if the man decided to press charges and she went to jail? Aaron kept acting as if it wasn't a big deal and we were being the unreasonable ones. Aaron is scheduled to take her permit test soon, and we told her before this happened that we would buy her a car as long as she kept up her grades. She was originally going to get a used Camry, but we had gotten a really good deal on a new Nissan for basically the same price. We now told Aaron that she would have gotten the Nissan, but now she's not getting the car, and it's going to Luca. Assuming he keeps up his grades and stays out of trouble, of course. She's also grounded and will have no phone for a month. She argued how it's unfair, but we told her tough. Discounting 2 Bs, Aaron's an all-A student, but Luz and I recognize that having morals is equally important in life as grades. She later told her biological dad about it, and he proceeded to post a rant about me on Facebook saying I'm only doing it out of bias towards Luca, and this surprised me. I always thought that he and I had a good co-parenting relationship. Friends on Facebook have reached out to me. They know that I'm not biased towards Luca. Believe me, if he did this, it would be the same punishment. But they think that I'm being a bit too hard on Aaron since she's still a kid. Everyone makes mistakes. She was peer pressured into doing it, and Aaron was promised the car for good grades. I realize that Aaron isn't an adult yet, but she's still old enough to be responsible for her actions. Now I'm uncertain if Luz and I's expectations are too much, and we don't remember what it's like to be teenagers. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for not having my house clean for my housemates? Little backstory. I, 20 and female, moved in with 3 other people, 21 female, 20 female, and 19 female. During the moving process, I was the one to organize our council bins with the real estate agent, argue with the council because we didn't have bins for a month. I organized us to get a free fridge and TV, and I am the primary contact for the agent. My roommates are constantly calling me out for a few dishes in the sink, although most of them are never mine. Not changing the litter boxes, although I literally did them the other day, and I got us new boxes and went and bought new litter, which they never do. They said I never clean out my food from the fridge, even though I have like 2 things in there at a time. They accused me of buying milk and never using it and leaving it there in the fridge, even though I don't drink milk. They said I never take the bins out, kitchen and bathroom, even though I'm like actually the only one who does it. They just never see me and assume it's one of the others who took it. All 3 of them have stable jobs and income, whereas I was working 2 jobs just to pay rent, and they said that because I'm home more often, I should think it's common courtesy that I clean the house, because they're stressed at work and don't want to come home and be stressed at home. For the first few weeks, I vacuumed, mopped, and cleaned downstairs while they were all at work, but once I realized that they never did anything, I stopped. So all of a sudden, I'm not doing anything. My mom comes by and cleans with me when they're not home, and my dad maintains our lawns, but none of their families contribute to the house. So in turn, I stopped doing things because I noticed they weren't contributing. Now all of a sudden, I'm lazy and don't contribute. So, am I the jerk for not having the house clean for my roommates when they get home?